And joining us now with the reaction is former press secretary for Vice President Pence, Marc, and former Obama economic advisor, Austan Goolsbee. All right, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Marc, I'll start with you. I mean, the president certainly has a lot to talk about, 14 months, 15 months in, with all of the numbers that he talked about with unemployment and jobs, and 3 million new jobs since Election Day. I mean, there's pretty much a very positive message. It's kind of interesting that there would be any resistance toward his effort, at least to create the infrastructure effort that apparently is stalled in Congress. Why do you think that is?
Well, it's basically what you just said. It's results versus resistance. And in this case, the president has the results, but he's not satisfied yet. He doesn't want to just make America great again. He's now talking about making and building an even better America again. And that's where his focus is. He took that message right into the heart of blue-collar Ohio. He's going to take it around the country for the rest of the next 3 years. And that's the platform he's going to move this country forward with.
All right. And Austan, I mean, you would agree, wouldn't you, that our roads and our bridges are certainly in need of repair, and yet the Democrats, as Marc indicated, continue to resist. This is not a political issue. Why wouldn't they come together to make sure that we repair our roads and bridges and get a better infrastructure?
Well, I do agree with you. I thought he ought to hire you guys to clean up his speeches. The actual speech there was you made it a lot more coherent and on message. He was all over the place. I mean, he was talking about Roseanne and he talked about North Korea. On infrastructure, it's not just the Democrats
but
are
Austan,
holding
you know what?
him up.
I have to interrupt you. They love him for that.
Okay.
That's why he got elected.
Okay.
People love his straight talk.
You may be right. You may be right. But on the issue of infrastructure, it's not just the Democrats that are holding him up. What's going wrong is the president's infrastructure plan is not actually a plan for federal increase in spending on infrastructure of the size he's talking about. He's trying in his plan to put the cost onto the states, and even the Republican governors are saying they don't want to do that plan. So that's the problem. He's got to find more of a common ground.
Marc?
Well, infrastructure has always been a federal, state, local partnership. And what the president's talking about doing is taking $200 billion and using that to leverage local, state, private sector monies to the tune of $1.5 trillion. And that's the way we should be doing it, because right now there are too many states and local governments, especially in some of the areas in the Northeast, that they get most of their money from the federal government and they just go ahead and waste it. If they put more skin in the game, then maybe they will be better stewards of that money and make sure that the projects are getting built on time, under budget, and that's what the president's focused on.
And you know, Austan.
Okay, but I don't agree with that. That was not a correct statement. All across the country, historically, we've had 90% of the money paid by the federal government, and they require a 10% match from the states, in every state, not just New England. And this plan of the president is $200 billion. That he's going to cut $200 billion from infrastructure in other places for a net increase of nothing, and shift it so that 80+% of the cost goes to the states. That's why the states are opposed to the plan. You were asking, why is it
Marc?
stalled in Congress? It's because of that.
Well, you know what? But Austan, you also have to admit, I mean, the way to react to President Trump if you're a Democrat is to resist. But Marc, can you answer his question?
Well, no, he's absolutely right. It's always been a federal split. But what I'm saying is because so much of that money comes from the federal government, it is often wasted. When you put more local state skin in the game, which is what the president is calling on, in addition to putting private sector money in, you know it will be better managed because it's their money, their limited resources that they're going to have to better look out for and make sure they're delivering projects that have the greatest impact to their taxpayers, to their economy. And that's where the president's focused on this, and it's the right focus.
It's called accountability. Marc, Austan, thanks so much for being with us tonight.